Okay, so as promised, I said that I would tell you a little bit more about me as we went along, just to make it a little more personal. So, this is the castle, which is off of my kitchen. Show you that tomorrow. There's my dog sleeping. Charlie. Charlie. Anyway, there's a bed. There's a mattress over there. Oh, there he is. Because sometimes one of the kids will sleep in here. There he is. Hey, Charlie. And that's my doggy. And there's a fan. And this is kind of the craft room also. See? And where Evie does her schoolwork. And then some of the toys. And then there's more craft stuff all up there. More toys. That's a plant thingy. Projector. And then you just keep turning. And there's the outside. And then you keep going. We're outside. And then we're back to my desk. So that is, oh, and then see, and then stuff up there. There I am. Oh, there's my dog. See how big he is. All right, so now let's get to work. Excuse me, Charlie. Come on, get. You want me to open the door? All right. We have this little screen thing on, and then he can just, whoop. I'll leave it open. All right, so we are, now I got to put this holder back on the phone, which is really terrible to do, and I always feel like I'm gonna break my phone. Okay. Woo, got it. Ah, there me. Okay. All right, so let's get into the zero product property and graphing quadratics in factored form. So all right, you have been leading up to this with knowing how to factor and learning how to factor. And that's what we did before. And now you're going to use that to help you graph quadratics. So let's just get to it. We're going to graph them and label its important parts. All right, graph and label each quadratic function. Y equals 2x plus 3, x minus 1. Okay, as you can see in this one above, what are the important parts? Vertex, x-intercept, y-intercept, axis of symmetry, max and min, domain, and range. Okay, that's every time, all right? So let's find that vertex. Well, to find the vertex, you got to find the center, like we talked about in this problem, of the x-intercepts. So what I'm going to do, so vertex. Well, first before I can do that, because it's in factored form, I'm going to skip over here and I'm going to do B, the x-intercepts. Right, well, all you do is you use the zero product property. Put that in another color. The zero product property states that if two things are multiplied, if A times B equals 0, then A equals 0, or B equals 0. All right, well, x-intercept means that y equals 0. So that means, let me fold my notebook back, sorry. Okay. X-intercept means that y equals 0. That is what x-intercept means. See, it hits the x-axis, so y equals 0. Other color. Well, I'm gonna take this and say, well, 0 equals 2 times x plus 3 times x minus 1. Well, the zero product property says, so does everybody get that? See? 0, y? Okay. All right, so then now the zero product property says that if two things or three things are multiplied to give you 0, then one of them has to be 0. So then we know by the zero product property that, well, 0 equals 2, or 0 equals x plus 3, or 0 equals x minus 1. All right, but that is nonsense right here. So you can skip that if you just have a number equals 0. That's silly. And we just go straight to this. Well, how do you solve 0 equals x plus 3? Well, you just isolate it for x. So I'm going to first subtract 3 from both sides. Right? We draw that line down the middle. And then we go, okay. So now those cancel, and we get negative 3 equals x. And that's not a not equals, that's just the line down the middle. Here, draw a line down my equal sign, and write add 1, add 1. Those cancel. So 1 equals x. So my x-intercepts are negative 3 comma 0, because y is 0 on an x-intercept, and 1 comma 0. Okay, so if I were to graph this, which it says to graph, so I'm going to keep a space here to be able to graph things. Well, but first I want to find my, let's see. So what is the vertex? Well, the vertex, before I do that, because I want to know how high up or down I got to go. All right, so now that I've found these, so I'm going to put that I did this first. Then I did this second, okay? All right, so now my vertex has to happen between those because it has to happen right in the middle. Okay, so what's between negative 3 and 1? Well, let's just graph it. Negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1. Negative 3 and 1. I'm not worried about like drawing the whole parabola yet. I'm just trying to find what's in the middle. All right, so now let's just go a little bit each way. So I go 1 this way and 1 this way. 1 this way and 1 this way. There it is, right in the middle. So that is the axis of symmetry, actually. Okay, is at what? Well, there's 0, so it's negative 1. All right. Okay, so if I know my x equals negative 1, how do I find my y? Well, I take that and plug it in up here. So y equals 2 times negative 1 plus 3 times negative 1 minus 1, which is 2 times negative, and you can just put all this in your calculator straight away. In fact, let's just do that. There's no reason to do all that. 2 parentheses negative 1 plus 3 parenthesis negative 1 minus 1, and I get negative 8. Okay, so there's my vertex. Negative 1, negative 8. All right, that's B. That's A and B. Now let's do C, which is y-intercept. All right, well, y-intercept just means, parentheses, other color, x equals 0. So now I'm going to plug in 0. So if x is 0, y equals 2 times 0 plus 3 times 0 minus 1. Grab your calculator. I'm going to hit the up button. And then, no, that's just too much. 2 parentheses, 0 plus 3, 0 minus 1. And I get negative 6. So my y-intercept is 0, negative 6. You know what? This is getting a little bit too much, so I'm going to box these. This is my vertex. This is my y-intercept. These are my x-intercepts. Right. Okay. All right, what's next? D is axis of symmetry. Well, look, you already found that. Remember, that's just, the rest is easy peasy. Once you find the vertex and those, then you're good. So let's see. So D is axis of symmetry, which is x equals -1. It's just the x value of the vertex. CDE is it a maximum or a minimum? Okay, well, another way to tell if it's going to be a maximum or minimum, well, think about where the vertex is. So you have, these are your x-intercepts. They hit right here and here, and your vertex is down at -8. So it's going to be an upward scoop, okay? But another way to think about it is the A value, okay? So if the number in the front, all right, so if A, over here, if A is positive A, we get this way, and a negative A, we get this way. All right, so it's a positive A. That guy right there is positive. So it looks like a smiley face, which means that it has a minimum y equals, and remember, it's just the y value of the vertex. All right. F, we already talked about, is all real numbers. And I'm going to keep going over here. F is all real numbers, because that's the domain. Just it goes left and right forever. All parabolas do. And then G, if it has a minimum, then that means it goes up. So y is greater than or equal to -8. Now, you do not have to do the minimum without looking at your picture. You do not have to do this part. What I would recommend is just graph these three, A, B, and C first, and then you can just see it, okay? So let's do it. So I need -8 down, -6 down, 0, -3 left, +1 right. So not too far off the graph, but I do need to go down to -8. I don't need to go up very far at all. Yeah, I don't see any ups really. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So -1, -8. Here's my vertex. -3, 0. And, oops, 1, 0, right? And that one will be here. Don't connect them yet, that. And then 0, -6. And then there you go. Now, if you wanted to find a matching point for that one, that would be here this way. So it would be one more this way. See? Because they match across the axis of symmetry. So this one's 1 away from that axis. So this one's 1 away from the axis. Because they always match. That's the whole point of the axis of symmetry. But if you didn't put it, that would be okay too. Okay, and then do you see how you can see that it has a minimum? You can see the axis of symmetry. You can see that y is greater than, because it's up, and then -8's the very bottom. Okay, all right, so we graphed it and we labeled all important, and we labeled all the important parts. You don't have to label it on the actual graph. Labeling it just means like giving your stuff over here. Okay, all right, let's do another one. Okay. All right. F of x equals -1/2 x minus 4 x minus 8. All right. So, oh, hang on. I think Charlie's chasing the bunny. The bunny in the backyard. Charlie! Come! Come on. Thank you. Good boy. Don't be chasing those bunnies. We have a family of bunnies with like some baby bunnies that are living in the yard, and he keeps chasing them. All right. I mean, he can't help it. He's a dog, right? Okay. but I will be personally traumatized because of baby bunny. All right. So what were we doing? Oh, okay. A is to find the vertex, but we have learned in the factored form that we should do B first, which is the x-intercepts. Again, it doesn't matter. I mean, I just called them A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but you can do it in whatever order you want. Okay, so x-intercepts, I'm going to set that x-intercept means y equals 0. So I'm going to set y, which this right here is the same as y. Okay? So 0 equals negative 1/2 x minus 4, x minus 8. All right, now we learned last time that a half can't be 0, so that one's silly. So we're just going to say 0 equals x minus 4, or 0 equals x minus 8. So now we're going to add 4, and we get 4 equals x, which I didn't like cross out and stuff on this one, so that in your notes you could tell. So if you want to cross out, that's okay, as long as you can follow what you did before. And then here we're going to add 8 and add 8. So I get 8 equals x. All right? And so then we get the point 4, 0, and 8, 0 as your x-intercepts. All right. Vertex. Well, the vertex is between 4 and 8. So what's between 4 and 8? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. I feel like I'm dancing. So that's x equals what? 6. All right. So then we plug that back in to the function. So y equals negative 1/2, 6 minus 4, 6 minus 8. And then we just grab our trusty calculator. Negative 1/2, 6 minus 4, 6 minus 8. And we get 2. All right. Now let's do the y-intercept. Well, that's x equals 0. So I'm going to plug in 0. So y equals negative 1/2, 0 minus 4, 0 minus 8. Negative 1/2, 0 minus 4, 0 minus 8. And I get negative 16. Bummer, that's going to be really low on my graph. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and graph this for the rest of the parts. So I'm going to go down to negative 16. Hang on a second, sorry. Charlie! Charlie! Charlie, come! Come on, you gotta come in. You're being bad. Leave those bunnies alone. Close the door. Mama's filming. You gotta stay inside. All right. Sorry about that again. All right, so, so let's label this 0, negative 16 is the y-intercept. All right, so let's go ahead and graph it. We need to go 4, 8, negative 16. So mostly I just need down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, like that. All right, and then we found that the vertex was, oh wait, so 0, negative 16 is the, I didn't write the vertex. Let me write that. That was, what, 6, 2. Good thing I gave myself a little room. So 4, 5, 6, 2. Right? And then my y-intercept was 0, negative 16. Which if it's off the graph, I mean, you don't have to actually go all the way down to 16. I'm just trying to show you completely how to do these problems. So I did, but generally, like these 3 points would be enough. You could just like stop like that, okay? But since I did, I might as well. All right. Okay, and then now let's do the rest. So ABC. D is the axis of symmetry, which is just the x value of the vertex. So x equals 6. E is the max or min. Well, it's a hill, so it's a max of y equals the y value, so 2. See how they just make the vertex? All right. F was domain, which is all real numbers. And then G is the range. Well, it goes down, so it's y is less than or equal to. And then the tippy top, which is the max, so 2. Okay. All right, one more, but I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to do the zero product property part. Okay, so just to make sure we get, so what are the x-intercepts? So new example. What are the x-intercepts of y equals 1/4, 3x minus 1, and negative x plus 8. Okay, so all you have to do is use the 0. So x-intercepts mean y equals 0. So I'm going to use the zero product property. So I'm going to say 0 equals 1/4, 3x minus 1, negative x plus 8. And then we know we can't set a fourth equal to 0, so ignore it. So then 0 equals 3x minus 1, or 0 equals negative x plus 8. Okay? Well, now before you divide by 3, so don't do that first, always add or subtract first. So I'm going to add 1. So now I get 1 equals 3x. Now divide by 3. So 1/3 equals x. And if you write it in point form, 1/3, comma 0. I think on Khan Academy, though, they just, you can just put x equals 1/3. Okay? But I'm not certain, so make sure you check that out with the x-intercepts. If they ask you for a point form, then obviously they'll put the parentheses and the comma. Okay? If they're just asking you to solve like an equation like this, then you would just say x equals. But make sure you pay attention because they also ask for smaller and larger one. All right, so minus 8. So negative 8 equals negative x. Now, this is a negative x, so divide by negative 1. Or multiply by negative 1, really doesn't matter. And then negative 8 divided by negative 1 is positive 8 equals x. So 8, 0. All right, all done. See you next time.